All right, y'all, welcome back to another video. We're here back at the shop, got some work to do, and I'm going to show you the race car room. So I don't want anyone to freak out or drop their phone or shut off their computer because it looks like a mess, but I'm going to show you guys what we're working with right now. We are in what's called a work in progress. We have some upgrades going on in the shop, which you guys have seen, and we have to do some work on the car because we got some deadlines that we want to reach, so we got a little bit of everything going on. But this is what we got. We got some parts getting shipped out. Logan's got a rear end here for sale, got a Gen Y hitch for someone. We got the black sheep is just in the middle of this chaos, just up on Pro Jacks. We're actually pulling the shocks off. That's what we're going to talk about today. We got Ben here's pulling the shocks off. How are the shocks coming?
Good. I got the detent clips off and the knobs.
And then
just the bottoms.
We got to drop those off, run them up to Mentor, get everything revalved, so a fresh start for the year. As you can see here, we got the walls painted. Most of the way. We need another coat on them. That's what we were doing yesterday. The front end is just sitting here, and then we got a bunch of transmissions. So I don't know if we've gone over this. We got our lockup trans for Slick Rick. We got a nice transmission here for, this is actually the one that came out of the black sheep that got put in the reed case. This one right here is actually the new transmission going in the black sheep, and then this one here is the lockup, and then I got one here for the Glizzard. So we're moving and grooving. We got a bunch of stuff, and we got a Power Glide for sale. Cameron Glide, one-piece reed case, 180 gear set, 10 clutch high gear drum, billet valve body, upgraded pump, NASA input shaft. $4,500. That's a very good transmission. We got a bunch of stators back from Cameron Torque Converter Services. So he's been making the stators, and I think we got this one is not in use, but this was the old one that we were running. We got two new ones. So between the three that we have for this transmission, we're gonna have something that I feel is gonna be pretty quick. So I'm excited. This is like a Pro Torque core, so I got to get a gasket for a Pro Torque converter, 10-inch converter, and then we're good to go. I'll put that thing back together, start sticking transmission back in the sheep. We got the engine back from TCAM Performance, so we can get all that stuff set in there. And then I'm just waiting. I sent everything off to Joe at Dieter's Custom Finishing, the king of bling, and he's making everything super shiny. We also have a new turbo on the way, so we got to get that sent to Joe. So we're going to put everything back together and get it operational, and we're going to probably test it, just make sure everything's going good, and then we're going to do a bunch of upgrades. So I know you guys are like, why would you do it like that? But I think it'll be good because a lot of the upgrades that we're doing are minimal. So I got this, hold on, with this oil pan. This is our new external oil pump sumped pan. This is from Williams and Fab, and this thing is absolutely pretty sweet. Waited a little bit to get it, but I think it's worth the wait. It's got a baffle, a trap door, and then the pickup tube. It's super nice. I was dealing with Mickey over there. He really just makes an absolutely badass product. I mean, this is just an absolutely gorgeous oil pan. Ben, have you checked this thing out?
Yeah.
I mean, this thing is very nice.
Oh yeah, it's nice and low too.
We kept similar dimensions to the Moroso pan that we were running. We made it a little bit shorter, just a touch, but this is this paired with that aviated oil pump that we have is going to alleviate any of our oil pressure issues where we'd have a drop, and also we can run a lot higher like base oil pressure, so we're gonna run like 100 psi oil pressure instead of having like 50. One thing we are going to do is we're going to put an oil heater in here, so then we can
plug the car in BPF like a diesel.
Black Fill Fab.
Yes.
Fab. Sorry.
FAP.
Yeah, we're gonna. Everyone knows with the methanol stuff we have issues with milking the oil, and what you do is you have a heating element in there, and you turn it on, get the oil up to temp, kind of like what Turbo John does, except he puts it in a crock pot. We're just gonna do it in the oil pan. So get the oil up to temp, start to bake off the moisture, put a vacuum on the valve cover, and suck all that out. Does he want the pan?
I think so. I got a question. Why we got two different wheels on this?
Well, I don't. The people at home got to decide what wheel they want to run. What wheel they want us to run, actually.
Oh.
So I mean, we got a Magnum V2 over here.
I was very confused.
Which I think looks good. That's a sporty wheel. This is actually one of my favorite wheels ever created.
You run the Magnum if you run alphas in the back.
Yeah, I mean, you got a point, but I mean, this is just a good-looking wheel. You can get away with it with such deep dish wheels. You know, you can't really tell what spokes are on the inside, but we got the Magnum here. We'll go over to the other side. And we got an Alumistar. This is what we ran last year. So Yeah, I mean, it's up to you guys. You guys tell us, do you want to run the Alumistar or the Magnum? So it's really personal preference. I think the Magnum is a lighter wheel. Actually, I know the Magnum is a lighter wheel.
We get some Jegs wheels.
No.
We can claim the title of the fastest car on Jegs wheels.
Why don't we run these with the Sanders?
Because none of the other wheels that I got fit. Because this is a 4.5-inch backspace rear end. Everything else I do is 3-inch. So I do 3 and 1. So 3-inch for the 14 wides, 1-inch for the 12 wides. Nothing fits. It's a damn shame, isn't it? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I was like, well, that's sweet. I'll put these on the Colorado. Colorado has Ford bolt pattern up front. So that shit don't work either.
Jegs wheels.
No. no, I can't. But yeah, I mean, that's what we got going on. Oil pan is sweet. We got the engine back. Got some stuff sent off to Joe at Dieter's Custom Finishing. We got a bunch of transmissions here. And then we got all this shit, which I have to clean up today because we got new flooring we got to put down. We're going with this like rubber coin floor. All this stuff here, this is what's left over from the yard sale. We did sell a bunch of stuff. And now we just got like a bunch of stock wheels, some radiators, some stock heads, a converter, a pallet, just like a lot of little shit that we have to get rid of. So that's not... Yeah, this is... The dumpster's already full, so we got a little bit of work to do. But, all right, let's get down to business here. Let's talk shocks for a second. So, let me climb under here. So, I know it's been a while since we were talking about, like, drag radial racing. We've been doing a lot of no-prep stuff. But I love radial racing. That's where it's at. I don't really care for the no-prep stuff. I just do it because everyone's like, oh, no-prep. There's, like, a race every weekend. They pay out pretty good, and it's just... I mean, I think you kind of have to do it.
You want me to hold that for you?
What's your thought on the no prep stuff?
I like no prep. It gives the average person who doesn't have a lot of money the ability to go out there and compete.
But there ain't nothing like a radial car.
I mean, radial stuff is fun, but you need a lot of money to compete in radial racing.
Or make really bad financial decisions.
You know, you can just get a divorce and live out of your race car and tote her for the rest of your life. And do nothing but that.
I mean, that doesn't sound terrible. But anyways, all right. So we're talking about the shocks. Now I know what you guys are saying, like, oh, I know every car has shocks, but the shocks on a radial car are extremely important. This is how the car will sit at going down track. Shock at full extension. We got a low dollar motorsports shock travel sensor. Very, 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 very important piece of information. So when you're running like all the no prep stuff, the shock, I would say it's not as important. Everyone just crams a bunch of weight in the back and they get to squat and smush the tire and then hit the road. A couple guys out there are trying to do it with some separation, trying to do some different stuff. But a radial car like this, it's a 4-link car, you set your bar angles up, get a little bit of anti-squat in there, and the car will naturally try to push the rear end away from the car and go down track. The shock is so important because you need to control that. You need to control at what rate the rear end descends from the vehicle. Have it do it too soon, you can knock the tire off, or it tops the shock out too early and then it'll cause it to wheelie. You do it too late, it could just ride out there and wheelie. The suspension tune-up on a radial car is like super, super, super important. You really got to get dialed in. Having the shock it's not really ride height, it's really shock travel sensor on there is extremely important because that gives you real data to look at to say, hey, we topped the shock out at 1.2. Hey, we topped the shock out at 2 seconds. It's too late. We need to get it to top out sooner, so we got to loosen the shocks up. Or you could say, hey, our bar angle is really messed up because at 0.2 into the run, it topped the shock out and the shock's at full tight. So it's a combination. Everything's got to be happy back here. We're at a point where we kind of changed our rear suspension setup. So we were having an issue where we just kept going to the track and kept knocking the tire off, kept knocking the tire off. Kevin stuck his head under there and said, hey, the bar angle looks super aggressive. So what that means is your bottom bar and your top bar were like pointed at each other. Real short into the center, real aggressive bar angle, super, super high anti-squat value. We made the change to go to worked with Matt, worked with Kevin. We came to the conclusion that, hey, we got way too much bite in the car. Let's take a less aggressive route and see how that works. So we took a bunch of bite out of it. When we went to the track, we were trying to... Ben, would you say we were trying to eyeball it? This was pre...
Cameras, it's way harder to do it
like that. This was pre-shock travel sensor. We were like, I think it's definitely working better because we started going back down track. But, like, in the car, it wasn't hiking the ass up, and you could tell on the camera it wasn't hiking the ass up. But we didn't know. We didn't have actual data to look at. So we put the shock travel sensor on there, and it wasn't topping the shock out until, like, 3 seconds into the run, which is, like, not what you want to do. We were suffering from a slower 60-foot because of that. But I mean, I think like 3 or 4 passes after we had this on there, we were able to get the shock right where we want it, get the rear end working, get the separation, topping the shock out at the right point in time.
The important part about that was we would knock the tire off every time we tried to turn the car down.
Yep.
Which didn't make any sense. But if you look at it in the video, we had so much anti-squat before that when we had it turned up on leave and like trying to hit it hard, we had barely just enough energy to get the front up over
enough.
the rear. And so like when we hit it from home, we go down by good luck.
Yes, and that was when we were in Georgia. So if you saw the pictures at Georgia, we're like at the 60-foot, tires hiked up off the ground, and the ass is all the way up in the air. So like when we were leaving super hard, it was working. But anytime we went to a marginal track or something that wasn't good, we just had no shot. And at the time, we had no way to gather data to say like, hey, this is just not working. I think like 3 or 4 passes after we put the shock travel sensor on there, we realized how far off we were, made some adjustments, got on there. So with the bar angle change, we weren't getting the separation we needed, so we were loosening the shocks up. Right now, we have gone like 102 in the 60-foot. We've gone we've gone 280 flat to the 330. This shock right here is full loose. We are out of adjustments to make it looser, and we need it looser. So that's why we're taking this off to run it up to John and the guys up at Menser Motorsports, because we need to loosen the shock up a little bit. And I know a lot of people out there, a lot of you guys that do radial race, are like, man, everyone's always talking about cranking the shocks, making them tighter. You got to tighten up the shock to alleviate that. Our bar angle setup is a little bit different than some people's. Now, there's many people that are doing it the same way we are, but it seems to work really good for us. I mean, car with me in it, this is no lie. I mean, everyone's like, John Bruley's at home, his damn steam's coming out of his ears. He's like, that's a damn pro mod. The car's literally got frame rail from front to the forelink. I mean, it's literally from the front of the car to the forelink. With me in the car, it weighs 2760. It is not a light car. The front end is fiberglass. The doors are fiberglass. The front end's been repaired like 90 times. It's got headlights in it. There's no carbon in the car. It's got factory floors in it. It's got a factory firewall. Now that I'm thinking about it, this actually fits the dig or die rules. This thing is not a light car. I think it's very respectable to go 102 in the 60-foot. And we haven't even turned the motor up yet. We've gone 420s. We went 427 on 28 pounds of boost. We've made almost 40 pounds of boost on the dyno. So we know it'll fly. But before we take it back out, we need to get the shocks right, because we were at a limit there where we were maxed out in our converter, where we'd turn it up in the middle and it would just slip more from the 60-foot to the 330. That's why we warranted the stator change. So we got new stator coming, we got new turbo coming. We know it's going to go faster through the 330, so we need to get the shocks where we need them. We need to get them right. So we're going to take these off. The fronts need to be rebuilt. They're clapped out from wheeling a little bit. The backs, we're going to loosen them up. And the guys from Menser Motorsports are up the road, Fayetteville, North Carolina, are the #1 go-to for anything with shocks. I mean, radial racing, slick racing, big tire racing, they're the go-to. So Ben's been working on the front. I'm going to pull the backs off here. These things are these are the 8-inch travel canister Mensers. They are not the 4-way adjustables or nothing crazy. They make one shock bigger than this. They make a 9-inch travel shock, but we only have about 5.5 inches of usable separation, so there's no point to have a bigger shock. I got these exact shocks on the Colorado, and Bob built the truck. It has 8.6 inches of usable extension, so if I did want to go to the 9-inch travel shock, we can, but I think, you know, if we have an 8-inch travel shock, we have 7 inches of separation. That's going to be plenty to do whatever we need. All right, we got the front and rear shocks off. We had a bent ass carriage bolt give us hell. That thing's bent as hell. Look at that thing. Look at that thing wobbling. So the carriage bolt here is our
travel limiter.
Our travel limiter, and as you can see on this side, this is kind of how it works. Is you literally just adjust it to how much down travel you want. We generally run them where there's literally nothing coming out the top, so it really limits the travel. You're limited to about like an inch and a half or so, and then we tighten up the shock and do the rest with that. But this one here was a little bit bent. You had to cut it to get it out because it wouldn't thread in there.
Yeah, look at it.
Yeah, that thing has got some curve to it. Got shocks off. I'm gonna hit the road right now. Run up to Mensa Motorsports to drop them off. Get them, get the fronts redone and get the rears. They're going to be softened up just a touch. So that's what we got going on. We got the black sheep stuff coming together. It's gonna come together pretty quick, I think. One big thing we have to do is refit the front end because that got messed up after the wheelie. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. We got some changes coming to the black sheep. We're looking to go faster, be more consistent, and have a little more longevity out of it. That's the plan. So, yeah, black sheep's getting some love. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, subscribe. Silver car giveaway is going to be happening sometime here soon within the next, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to get that thing going so you guys have a chance to win one of our cars. And other than that, it's going to wrap today's video. Be on the lookout for more racing action. We'll see you guys in tomorrow's upload.